There's a line in sports. Legacy is just a collective memory. Talent alone doesn't guarantee you a seat at the table of NBA immortality. You can drop 30 a night, lock down the best players in the world, and put on a highlight reel worthy of a Hall of Fame induction. But if the fans and media don't rally behind you, if the right narrative doesn't attach itself to your name, you're forgotten. Today, we're talking about 10 players who never got enough credit during their playing days. The players who had all the tools and skill, but somehow never got their flowers. This isn't some dramatic 10-to-1 countdown, just 10 names that deserve more respect than they've gotten. So let's dive in and give these forgotten gems their due. Starting off with Muggsy Bogues. At 5'3", he still holds the title of the smallest player ever to step foot on an NBA court. But what most people don't fully appreciate is just how absurdly difficult it is to not only make the league at that size, but to last in it. Think about it. At 5'3", every offensive system is designed to swallow you whole. You're a walking mismatch, a defensive target, and you're playing with a built-in disadvantage every single night. And yet, Muggsy didn't just survive, he thrived. 14 seasons in the NBA proving that heart and skill can defy physics. Muggsy wasn't just hanging on for dear life, he was running the show. One of the purest playmakers the league has ever seen. Bogues still ranks among the top 25 assist leaders in NBA history. And if you want to talk efficiency, he's the only player ever to average over 10 assists while keeping turnovers under 2 per game in a season. At his peak, his assist-to-turnover ratio was the best in the league. Size may have defined him, but skill cemented his legacy. When Muggsy called it a career in 2001, the NBA didn't have to wait long for another undersized guard to shake things up. Enter Gilbert Arenas, a mid-2000s bucket who took the league by storm. Gil wasn't just good, he was box office. A most improved player, a 3-time All-NBA selection, and an MVP candidate in 2007 when he torched defenses for 28.4 points per game. But for all his fireworks on the court, his legacy has been buried under a short prime and, well, locker room incidents. What people don't give him enough credit for is how he helped reshape the point guard position. Before Dame time, before the modern scoring PG, there was Agent Zero, a fearless combo guard in an era that still wanted its floor generals to pass first, shoot second. But injuries and some, let's say, questionable off-court decisions kept him from reaching his full potential. Still, when Gil was at his peak, he was a problem. Let's rewind the clock on a time when the next Michael Jordan was still up for debate. Enter Clyde Drexler, who stepped into the NBA right alongside MJ and wasted no time staking his claim as one of the league's elite guards. He had 3 seasons of at least 25 points per game, and one time finished second in the MVP race, behind only Jordan. Clyde had the misfortune of greatness at the wrong time. Playing the same position as the GOAT in the same era meant his dominance was overshadowed. Clyde the Glide was the total package, explosive, skilled, a two-way force who could take over games with his athleticism and playmaking. One of the best scorers of his generation. Yet somehow, his legacy still feels underrated. Joe Dumars? Classic case of hidden in plain sight. How many times have we heard about Isaiah Thomas's Pistons like Dumars wasn't right there, quietly anchoring one of the most dominant dynasties ever? They didn't just slow down Jordan, they bullied him, winning back-to-back titles in '89 and '90. And Dumars? He was the one enforcing the infamous Jordan rules, making life miserable for the future GOAT. But here's what really sets him apart: his evolution. He entered the league as a non-shooter, then reinvented himself into a prototype 3-and-D player before that was even a thing. His game became a blueprint for future generations, yet his name rarely gets the credit it deserves. And speaking of players ahead of their time, we have to talk about the Denver Nuggets. In the 80s, while the rest of the NBA grinded through the dead ball era, the Nuggets went full throttle, pushing the pace behind their silent assassin Alex English. Alex led the league in scoring in 1983 and received MVP votes in 6 different seasons. Thanks to his efficient basketball, the Nuggets found the player who led their offense for almost a decade. And in 1985, Denver made it to the conference finals led by English. Although his incredible averages are affected by the incredible offensive play of his team, history has forgotten how the forward was one of the most dominant players of his entire generation. In fact, no NBA player, not even Jordan, Karl Malone, or Larry Bird, scored more points than Alex in the 1980s. At least English got his due. Others weren't so lucky. Take Baron Davis, one of the most explosive guards of the 2000s, yet somehow his impact feels lost in history. A freak athlete with elite vision, Davis led the league in steals twice and even cracked the top 10 in MVP voting in 2003 through 2004. He was a true offensive engine, handling both scoring and playmaking, yet only made 2 All-Star appearances. Sure, efficiency was never his strong suit, but his spot in the NBA's top 50 for career assists proves his longevity as a floor general. The record books may overlook him, but anyone who watched him play won't forget the electricity he brought, or how he physically dominated his peers at the point guard spot. Baron's story mirrors that of Dale Ellis, another talent who never quite got the legacy he deserved. Drafted 9th overall in 1983, Ellis looked like a career bench player early on. But once he landed in Seattle, he flipped the script. In 1987, he won Most Improved Player, skyrocketing from 7 points per game to 25. The secret? Pure shooting. Ellis was ahead of his time, a long-range sniper who shredded defenses before the 3-ball was king. In 1989, he led the Supersonics to the conference semis and earned his first and only All-NBA selection. But after leaving Seattle, he never hit those heights again. His prime was short-lived, and by the time he retired as the second leading three-point shooter in NBA history, the legends of the 90s had already pushed him into the shadows. What if Tim Hardaway never got hurt? That's the million-dollar question. In his early years with the Warriors, he wasn't just a rising star. He looked like the future. By year 4, he was already a 3-time All-Star, an All-NBA talent, and had cracked the top 10 in MVP voting. Then, disaster struck. A brutal ligament injury that derailed his momentum. Sure, he had a strong second act with the Heat, even finishing 4th and 6th in MVP voting, but he never quite recaptured that same magic. What did last, though? His influence. His UTEP two-step crossover wasn't just deadly, it was revolutionary. He changed the way guards attacked, paving the way for guys like Allen Iverson to take ankle breaking to the next level. Next up is a name everyone knows, but somehow his legacy still feels underrated. Oscar Robertson wasn't just great, he was a basketball anomaly. At 6'5", he was the perfect point guard with the size and skill set of a modern superstar. Yet he played in an era that hadn't caught up to him. In just his second NBA season, he averaged a triple-double for the Cincinnati Royals. He led the league in assists 7 times in his first 9 years, topped the NBA in scoring in 1968, and later delivered Milwaukee its first championship. Before Larry Bird, Big O might have been the most complete player the game had ever seen. And even today, he's got records that not even Nikola Jokic has been able to touch. And finally, we've got the most special player on this list, at least to us. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, aka Chris Jackson, a name that, for reasons beyond basketball, too many fans still don't know. Let's be real, Mahmoud was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. A sniper with unlimited range, deadly off the dribble, and a jumper so elevated it felt unblockable. At just 5'10", he was lightning quick, relentless off the ball, impossible to contain, and the most automatic free throw shooter of his day. However, his career didn't fade, it was erased. After winning Most Improved Player, he took a stand, refusing to stand for the national anthem due to his beliefs about oppression. Not long after, his role in the league mysteriously vanished. Coincidence? You tell me. But one thing's for sure, if Mahmoud played today, he'd be a problem. And with that, we wrap this video. I know some of you won't agree with every pick, so let me know in the comments who you think got snubbed. And hey, if you want a part 2, make sure to subscribe.